Ladies and gentlemen, Jason Vale podcast, everybody. Welcome, and as usual, wherever you are, whether you are, I don't know, you might be cooking some food for the kids.
Do I stop now?
You stop now. Thank you very much. I still haven't introduced you yet.
Sorry.
I mean, let's have the big build-up. Right, here we go. Whether you are making some food for the kids, or whether you're, I know you might be travelling on a bus. You might have been to the gym. What can I say about this guest? I mean, that hasn't already been said.
Say my name.
No, do you know what? I was looking through it.
You don't need to do a build-up.
Well, we do need to do a build-up because some of the stuff I found out, I thought I knew you.
There's a lot of lies.
I've been listening to you for over 20 years, and I thought I had found out everything. If I said, would you know who this next guest is? You can't obviously phone in and guess because it's not live, obviously. Best-selling author.
Mm-hmm. 2 times Sunday Times best-selling author, yeah.
Singer.
Yeah, 2 albums in the chart.
In the top 20.
2 best-selling books, yeah.
TV presenter.
Yeah, that was a while ago. That's dried up a bit, I'll be honest. That's not happened for a while.
No, but mountaineer.
Yes, mountaineer / charity fundraiser.
Well, I was good. Charity was next. We had that. That's already written down there as well.
Helped raise over £10 million for Comic Relief. Thank you very much.
Well, you don't like talking about it.
Thank you.
I know that. You probably guessed who it is already. I've been listening to.
Hang on. Well, if you're going to do it, keep going.
Oh, keep going. What else have you done?
The star of an Andrew Lloyd Webber musical.
Oh yes, we have got that.
Did my own tour as well in the same year, 2012. Did sell out 12-date tour around the UK. Thank you very much.
Okay, longest running radio show.
The longest serving radio and breakfast show host in its 50+ year history.
Yeah, and that'll never be
I've met
done
all
again.
the Spice Girls, and everybody in One Direction follows me on Twitter.
Well, come on, can we have just a round of applause for that as well? You probably already guessed who it is. If they haven't guessed already.
Thanks. And there was a time in my life when I had 4 out of the FHM top 100, that I don't know what they used to call it, but something that you wouldn't say now, hotties. I've had a few of them on my sofa in my old flat. Individually, I may say.
In that way?
No.
No, okay.
Watching telly.
You did the longest run, 52 hours? Is that were you talking about your charity thing?
We broke the record for the longest radio show, which I think was 52 hours, and then I think was broken 24 hours later by some students. But I don't care. I got in the Guinness Book of Records.
Well, that's all that matters, isn't it?
Screw you, students.
I know you probably get. I still haven't said his name. It is, of course, radio legend, the one and only. It's Chris Moyles, everybody. Come on. It is Chris Moyles.
Why are you clapping on the podcast?
Because I was a bit like Steve right in the afternoon, and to make out there's a bit of energy in it.
We're all juicing. We don't have any energy.
You're a professional at this.
We're all exhausted.
You were kind enough to have me on your show last year, and an e-shot went out, and on that e-shot it said Christ Moyles. Yeah. And XFM. Yeah. What was nice though, you didn't.
And it's not XFM, it's Radio X.
No, correct. They were both wrong. So that's
I do have a Christ complex, so that's fine.
So it wasn't fine at all. You brought it up quite a lot. To be fair, yeah, throughout the whole thing.
I can't remember. You should never bring these things up.
All of my office remembered this morning. In fact, when yeah.
Well, let's talk about you, Jason Vale.
No, we're not talking about
to Jason Vale. Over 4 million Jason Vale books sold, yet he still dresses like this.
Well, they won't see it. It's a podcast.
Let me describe it. He's wearing a t-shirt which I reckon he got for free.
I didn't get it for free.
And he's wearing short jean denim shorts. There you go. On the feet are...
Yeah.
What trainers are those? Are they even a brand?
These are Adidas. Thank you very much.
Okay. They look very light. Are they light?
They're very light. Yeah. I like light stuff. Well, thanks for pointing out my attire on this podcast. But I'm sure wherever everybody's listening to this, they're not thinking, actually, what I wanted to learn today was what Jason's wearing.
But you said earlier that you don't like to wear jeans, so you wear shorts a lot.
I wear shorts all the time.
And you wear short sleeve shirts a lot.
Well, I couldn't wear them for years because I was covered from head to foot.
That's what I was going to ask. Is that because, so I used to, ironically, I'm wearing like a very oversized, very thin black hoodie, which my girlfriend's mother got me for Christmas. It's from the David Gandy M&S collection, everyone. Very soft.
Well, M&S don't just make clothes. No. They see what I was just... Anyway.
When I was a lot heavier, I used to... I'd always wear I'd never wear tight clothes. I'd always overcompensate and wear really baggy stuff. And now I've gone the other way, and I am keeping skinny jeans going.
You're looking very well, and that's not sycophantic as you walked in.
Thank you. I lost a lot of weight, and I've done well keeping it off. I've put a little bit back on, but I'm talking like a little bit.
So how big were you at your biggest?
It's very personal.
I know it is personal.
How much money do you earn?
Not
enough. The heaviest that I know of, I was 18 stone 2.
Jesus, because how big were you when you went up Kili?
The Christmas, we went to Kilimanjaro in early March, And the Christmas before, I was 17.5 stone.
Jesus.
And I lost a stone before I went up the mountain, just by training and watching my diet. And then did the mountain, which took a week, and came back, and I'd lost just over 3/4 of a stone in the week on the mountain. So I came back, and I was about, I don't know, 15 stone 10 or something. And I thought, oh, I should keep this up. This is good. I should really just
So was that
train.
the catalyst?
Yeah.
Knowing that you were going to Killy?
Knowing I was going to kill it, I just trained. That's all I did. So I just started running and then walking. So I'd walk home from work when I did the radio show, and I'd walk home for a couple of days, and then I'd get really bored. So the next day I'd run home. So then I'd run home the day after that, and then I'd be like, I can't be bothered to run. I'll just walk. So I used my laziness. So on the days when I couldn't be bothered to run, I'd walk, which took an hour and 45 minutes. And on the days when I couldn't be bothered to walk, I just wanted to be home, I just used to run, and that'd take me, I don't know, 50 minutes.
Because you were one of the, despite even being bigger than some of the people you went up with, no doubt you was bigger than Cheryl Cole, but
Yeah.
when you,
I think it's fair to say I was the biggest on the mountain.
on the mount, I remember because you was at the retreat. I mean, I don't know whether you want me to bring this up, but you are still to this date, and I've been running retreats for 16, 18 years.
Here we go. I know what you're going to say.
But you are still to this date the only person that I've ever known on our beautiful walks that we have in the morning there. You're the only person I know that when we stopped on the walks,
Yeah.
the only person I know to pull out a cigarette and have a cigarette.
Well, that's not entirely true, because as you know, my girlfriend was doing exactly the same.
She was.
But,
Yeah,
and as we're sharing stories that maybe we don't want to share, when we went to GC Oasis, and which was lovely in Portugal, I needed to have the odd cigarette. So I would, rather than smoke near people, which were very considerate smokers, we moved away from everyone, and we went down a couple of little steps, and we found this nice little gardeny bit. So we thought, right, we'll have our cigarettes there. And then Jason pointed out that little gardeny bit was dedicated to his mother, who's no longer with us, and that was her little special area. And it wasn't really intended for us to go down and be fagging away smoking. We felt very bad.
Do you know what? I've just
that.
remembered that. Actually, my mum had a corker of a sense of humour, by the way.
You did
I mean,
say
an
that.
absolute
you
corker.
did say that your mum would find that
She would,
darkly amusing.
because actually she obviously passed away through smoking. So actually she would have found that more
So
ironic.
she loved a fag.
So she
She'd have been like this. Come here.
She would have.
Come and join us.
Actually, you guys would have got like a house on fire. Pardon the pun. Part of you at the time, I think, said, "Well, I think my lungs are bigger because that's why I went up the mountain quicker than anyone else."
Well, they test you out for altitude. They test you because the Kilimanjaro is 19,000 feet high or something like that. But here's an interesting fact. The top of Kilimanjaro, the very top of the mountain, is pretty much the same height as the base camp for Everest.
Is it?
So you
had
can
no
only
idea.
imagine what Everest is, and it takes a week to get, or depending on which route you do it, 5, 6 days, 7 days to get to the top of Kilimanjaro. So to climb to base camp Everest, I would imagine wouldn't be the easiest thing in the world. But you go, well, there's only base camp. And that's literally where everyone goes, right, let's have a breather, have a coffee. But yeah, when we did the altitude chamber to get you ready for the high altitudes, they put masks on you and put you on treadmills and bikes and everything and monitor your breathing and everything. And they were like, you're all right, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, I'm totally fine. But I said, is that maybe because I smoke? Is it to do with that? Because maybe... I see it like an accordion or a squeeze box, right? So that goes in and out and in and out. And maybe my lungs don't go out and in as wide as they should. So when the air thins out, maybe I don't notice it because I'm like, it's like when have you ever got a tall mate and you go into an old country pub and he's got to duck down to get in and you don't. And they go, ceilings are a bit low. And you're like, are they? Blissfully unaware of this.
I know you got into exercise after that, but did you think about stopping smoking or not? Is it something that you...
Listen, I've got all my lines to do with smoking.
Right,
you know, there are no calories in the cigarettes that I smoke. They're totally fat-free.
Yeah.
And it's an old line, but it is true. And this is a scary statistic. Yeah. Non-smokers die every day.
Every day. I love Bill Hicks. He was a
and he's right.
And he is, and he was that funny. We were saying there were more.
He's dead now, of course.
I know.
He stopped though. He stopped smoking, didn't he? On a
Yeah.
health issue, the smoking thing for me will be the last thing to go.
But do you think it's worse than, because I used to smoke genuinely 2-3 packets a day. I mean, I was a heavy smoker. I wouldn't.
I'm not that heavy.
I wouldn't.
But I think I'm a heavy smoker. But that's like, even to me, I think that's That's crazy.
No, it was crazy, but I couldn't do anything without having a cigarette first. So to me, it was a form of slavery. I felt freedom when I finally stopped.
And did you stop cold turkey? Did you just stop?
In the end, yeah.
Right.
I had to do that. I had to just stop, done, finished. I ended up running a stop smoking clinic after that, because then it was...
How long after that?
Not that long ago after that. Well, it's done. It was job done.
How can you...
Because you know straight away.
You can't stop smoking on a Monday and set up a no smoking clinic by the Friday. You've got to have some kind...
But why?
Some
Why
people
is
go,
there?
oh, how long have you been off the cigarettes? Since Monday.
It was about 18 months.
Was it really?
Yeah, it was. It was
Okay.
about 18 months
All right.
afterwards. So smoking aside, then obviously that's the last thing that's going to come. Like
It will
you said.
get. It has to go because it's just. Here's the thing. Right? Here's the horrible, honest truth. Right? You ready for this?
Yeah.
I'm going to be super honest.
Okay.
When I was very heavily overweight, there were times when I just didn't see it, didn't notice it. But if you're 17 and a half stone and you go out for a few beers with your mates and you end up going for a curry afterwards and have more beers, and then you wake up the next day, you look in the mirror, you look 17 and a half stone. So you don't notice the weight going on you. You're fat, you're big, and then 6 months later you're fat and you're big. Whereas since I've lost weight, I can feel fat and bloaty on a Monday morning, and I left the gym on Friday after a good week feeling absolutely amazing. So I notice it. With smoking, I smoked up Kilimanjaro. I smoked on the walks with you.
Okay, yeah.
I'm at Juicy Oasis, right, having nothing but goodness put into me, training like a mother, right? Unbelievable, the amount of training that we did and walking and playing your stupid basketball game and drinking juice and soup and whatnot. Beautiful, lovely. Meanwhile, I'm puffing away. But because there's no effect of smoking afterwards, if I go out and drink 10 pints of lager tonight, I'll feel the effects tomorrow. But if I smoke a packet of fags tonight, I won't feel...
No, I get that. But the reason
And
why...
I think that's hard. I think human beings are so dumb.
Yeah.
You need to see. And the warnings on the packets are gross. But again, Dennis Leary said, you could call a packet of cigarettes cancer.
One of the times that a smoker will reach for a cigarette is when they're feeling a bit stressed or uptight. So if you tell a smoker it's killing them, the first thing they're going to do is reach for a cigarette. So it transcends logic and intelligence. When you're doing it, most of the time you wish you weren't doing it. It's only when you're not doing it you could do it. And that's addiction, unfortunately. The challenge is having to do something.
Yeah, stop smoking, kids. It's terrible for you.
Yeah, anyway,
here's my tip to anyone who does smoke when they're stressed. I saw this on the Oprah Winfrey Show years ago.
Okay.
Years and years ago. Is when you're stressed and you go, I'm off for a fag, and you go outside and have a cigarette and you feel better, you're basically taking in a huge breath and letting it out. You're basically, if you take the cigarette out of that equation, basically go outside and you go, that's what you're doing. Next time you're stressed at work, just go and breathe.
Is that what you're going to do then?
Go in the corner and breathe.
Chris Wilson, stop smoking, everyone. This is absolutely fantastic.
I will stop.
Come on, this is brilliant.
I tell you what, and I do. And the other benefit of not smoking is I'll be able to afford a bloody house in Spain.
I tell you, it's crazy now, isn't it? I
Good
couldn't believe the
God.
price of the packets.
Holy cow! And the government needs to ban them. If they
don't
were
think that
banned,
would
I
work.
wouldn't
I
buy them
don't know if-
anymore.
I don't-
You wouldn't catch me under a bridge in Camden going, you got any Marlboro Lights, mate? You got any Marlboro Lights? That'd be it. If I couldn't buy them, I wouldn't buy them. In Australia now, they really make it expensive and difficult, and they really try to do something about it.
But the app is Stop Smoking in 2 Hours. It's free for everybody. I made it free. Obviously,
Can I smoke
everybody-
whilst listening to that app?
Yes, you can.
You've got an
no,
app.
you can. You can actually smoke while you listen to it, and
Right.
I actually tell you when to smoke your final cigarette.
Great.
Genuinely, and it is
Do you talk us through it? Do you go, tastes good, doesn't it?
no, because I don't sound like Alan Partridge.
I don't know. You were whooping and clapping at the start of the podcast.
Fitness regime. So you run? Is running your thing now? What is your thing? What
I've always run. Since I was a little fat chubby kid, I've always run. So I have a trainer that I've had for a good few years now, and it's where we do 3 days a week, and that's all strength. So arms, legs, neck, whatever it may be.
Always work your neck. Rule number one.
And then I run at home and do training. I've got a treadmill at home, so I'll run. On a good week, I'll train 5-6 days a week.
So inevitably, we're bringing it into, because this is Diet and Exercise podcast. Finally, start talking
is
about
it?
the diet.
Great.
Diet-wise,
I'm very, very fit. I'm in very, very good shape. But that's why with the smoking, that'll be that's got to go at some point. And then, I'm all but
because I was
there.
amazed when you came on the retreat. Listen, I've listened to you for over 20 years, right? And so from all the
I
radio
started when I
stations.
was 8.
Of course, you look
I
at
was
it
very
incredibly
young.
well.
Child labour laws.
And so when you came on the retreat, it's like, oh my God, he's here. And I thought you'd last 2 days. I swear.
Yeah.
I thought there's no way, because you're quite dogmatic about stuff. So you like, if you didn't like something, you'd be gone.
Being at Juicy Oasis, this sounds like such an ad, but it is true, was easier than doing it at home.
Recently, you did a 3-day one, which you kindly did a post for, which was really nice.
The fishermen of insults on Twitter hooked you in a little
They
bit.
did, yeah.
And you just got to ignore them.
And do you know what I normally do? In fact, we have a thing in the office where I don't give them oxygen.
Yeah.
But for some reason in that moment, I felt that I wanted to say something to them. Which
Did
is
I text you or
ridiculous.
not?
Yeah, you did. You went, leave it, James.
Yeah.
Something like that.
because I could feel that you were getting wound up, but it's like, and some days on Twitter, occasionally, and it's very once the blue moon, somebody will annoy me to the point where I have to reply,
Right.
and it's a split second thing. But generally, I can just read stuff and either go, idiot, and move on, or I go, what an absolute moron,
Yeah.
and laugh at it. But people will always have opinions on.
Would you find it funny that
All of
but
this.
juicing gets attacked, and it did there? If you'd said to somebody, I'm going to Vegas, I'm going to go on the piss for 3 days, I'm going to do this, what that, nobody would say to you, oh my God, that's dangerous, or have you thought that through?
It depends.
Or-
You've never been to Vegas with me, my love.
Do you know, I've actually just got back from Vegas, actually.
yeah, I know you did.
But it was a different kind of Vegas.
Have you
than-
told your listeners you were hanging out with Robbie Williams?
Look, that sounds much bigger than it
You
was.
bought
I-
tickets to see him and stood in the crowd. Hi, Rob. Were you hanging out backstage with Robbie Williams in Vegas? Yes or no? Just yes or no?
Yes, but that's okay. Round of applause for that, everybody. Yeah, probably listen. This is going
Don't
to go.
ruin the showbiz facade for people who are at home or sat on a bus in Middlesbrough going to a job that they hate. Showbiz life is great. Hanging
Right,
out
well-
with Robbie Williams in Vegas.
And back in the room. Diet Nemesis, what is your thing that you go, right, that's the one I got to steer clear of that, otherwise I know I'm going to put on some weight, I'm going to feel bloaty, I'm going to feel...
That's easy. Enjoyable food, likable food, tasty food, anything that's nice. I'm one of those people that you can put the tastiest salad in front of me, and I will look at it and go, what is that? What is that? Me and my girlfriend were away on holiday once, and I ordered like a pie. Well, we're in Marrakesh or somewhere that I couldn't find it on a map. And I ordered some kind of pie thing. Oh my God, it turned up, it looked delicious. And my girlfriend ordered, basically, there were 5 little bowls of different salads. So it was 5 different types of salad. You should have seen the look on both our faces when our food turned up. Both exactly the same look of joy. Me because I had a pie, and my girlfriend because she had salads. And I went, "Are you seriously now? Are you looking at that like, I can't wait to get into that?" And she goes, 100%. I'm like, I'm so jealous. Because that just bores me to look
But
at.
it would be nice, because everybody assumes that if they go out for dinner with me, I'll order vegetables. And I never will.
Or just juice.
No, or juice.
I love my bloody juice.
But I genuinely hate vegetables. I got into juicing because I don't want to finish a hard day at work and have some broccoli. Pretty much the same effect. So I get all my nutrients through juicing. So when you are on juicing for 3 days, 5 days, you seem to actually get through it somehow. So how do you get through it? Because that's what it seems to be, that you're getting through it.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so if anybody's never juiced before, this is my honest take on the whole juicing thing. Number one, it's really, 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 really weird. Right? I've never been on a cruise ship, okay? And so the idea of cruise ships for me is really, 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 really weird. And I imagine if I went on a cruise ship, I would go, this is really, 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 really weird. And at the end of my 3, 4, 5 day cruise, I'd probably go, do you know what? I really liked it. It's good fun. Same when I went to Juicy Oasis. I remember thinking, if there was just a bar here and you could have a few drinks in the evening, this would be heaven. 4 days later, I'm like, totally get why there isn't. So the idea of juicing is ridiculous until you do it, and then you'll look back at it and you'll go, do you know what? It was all right. When your friends go, how was it? It was all right. So if you're thinking about doing it, all of your friends will tell you that you're insane and it's a stupid thing to do. Loads of your friends will tell you that it's really bad for you. Loads of your friends will go, good for you. I don't know how you can do it. And you might have some people who go, oh yeah, I've done it. And there'll be a point, maybe after your first juice, where you go, oh my God, that's one down. All these to go now. And then there'll be other times when you're ready to kill. There'll be other times when you feel sick or weak. My girlfriend was on the sofa, like you'd have thought She'd just been hit by a bus. She's on the sofa like that. Oh, you're going to have to ring Jason. This is not normal.
I should
Help
remember that.
me. And we ended up on the phone, and Jason, I put him on speakerphone, and he's like, is she all right? She's like, oh, I'm dying. And Jason's like, hey, am I on speakerphone? Yeah. Tiff, can you hear me? Yeah. And he goes, do you drink coffee? Yeah. And I'm like, yeah, she does drink coffee. I won't speak to her in the morning until she's had at least one cup of coffee. And it was, we guess, caffeine withdrawal from the coffee. Now, if you speak to Tiff, bearing in mind she was on the sofa, I go, oh. And afterwards you go, how was it? Yeah, it was all right, actually.
It was all right, it's true.
It was all right, actually. So I did it. We did 5 days at home.
Yeah, I remember. That's the one that she struck. That was the first one.
And then the evening of the first one. In fact, before we got to the soup, I remember running. She was on her backside, and then I remember making the soup and running into the lounge, going, "It looks like soup. It looks like soup. It doesn't look like juice. It looks like soup. We're gonna have something which is like food."
Wasn't that the same week that Coldplay did the Palladium?
Yeah.
Because I saw you over there, and I thought I'd send you a little quick text. I thought you must have been the only person. You're watching Coldplay at the Palladium. I mean, what a rare gig that is. I mean, Coldplay at the Palladium, such a small gig.
Go on, say it. Yeah. With a flask of soup.
So what?
It's your fault.
So what I'm saying is, anybody out there listening, thinking I can't do a juice plan because this is coming up,
and drank soup out of flasks like morons because we're on his stupid juice diet. And then the other kids. So I did 5 days at home. Then we went to Juicy Oasis, which was lovely. And then I recently did 3 days the other week, just before I went on my holidays on my own, because my girlfriend was working away. And the hardest bit of that 3-day one, which I totally forgot about, was I couldn't drink tea. I love tea. But what's interesting is it started to make me think maybe I need to cut down on my tea intake.
Oh, how many cups do you have a day?
What would be a normal amount?
I would say 4 cups. I would say for the average person, 3-4 cups a day.
Okay, maybe more.
Few more.
So I'll have a cup of tea in the morning
before
I leave the house. And then I will have, during the show, they will bring me, I would say I'd drink about 3 cups of tea, not full, but 3 cups of tea during the show. Would that be right? Yeah, Matt's there. So, and then I'll go home and the first thing I'll do is put the kettle on. So I'll drink a lot of tea. No sugar. But anyway, I love a brew. Oh yeah. And I'd not, at that point, herbal teas, please. I'd rather chew my own toenails. But, so now, I'd have herbal teas when I was doing it, but I did miss a proper cup of tea. And the next day, weirdly, I did the 3-day juice recently. I really missed my tea. I couldn't wait for a cup of tea the next day. But I'd also been, and this will be interesting to get into this with you, I'd also been intermittent fasting.
Yes. Intermittent fasting is something that I do all the time. I'm a huge fan of it. I think it's, in fact, actually juicing per se is part of that thing as well.
So this is it. So I'm not an expert in intermittent fasting, but I've been doing it most of this year. And I think the name is very misleading because people go, oh, I mean, what? Oh, that's intermittent fasting sounds. And you go, well, hang on. What time do you normally eat at night? What time would you have your dinner or your tea? So you go, 7:30. So you're done by 8, yeah. And then you'll go to bed at what, 10:30? And then you get up at 7:30. And then would you have breakfast at 8 o'clock? Yeah. That's 12 hours you've not eaten anything. So you've only got to stick 2 hours on either end of that, and that's 16 hours, and that's 2/3 of the day, and that's your intermittent fasting that everyone's talking about.
But that's why we don't do the first... When they come to Juicy Oasis, you might have been shocked as well. We don't have our first juice or smoothie or whatever till 10:30 in the morning.
I do have a theory with intermittent fasting that I fast during Monday to Friday, pretty much, right? I basically skip breakfast 5 days a week. Then at the weekend, when I let it go a little bit and enjoy myself, I'll get on the scales Friday morning. Whoa, have I put weight on? Whoa, have I put weight on quickly? I must say, I kind of do see a little bit of that with the juicing scenario. I juiced for 3 days recently. Really good. Felt great. Felt really good afterwards. And I lost a considerable amount of weight. I wasn't expecting. I put on weight after my birthday, and I wanted to see if I could just give it a little kick before I went away. I thought if I could lose 3 pounds, I'd be delighted. I lost 6. Delighted with myself. I then went straight on holiday to a all-you-can-eat burger contest that I do every year. I weighed myself afterwards. I put on a stone.
It's all the juicing's fault. You're right, Chris. This
A
is
stone I put on.
this is the
What's that all
what's
about,
that-
Mr. Juice?
Do you know what? It's
Mister?
funny though. You joke around, but we get this a lot, right? So people would say, and they'll blame the juicing. So they'll do juicing for 7 days, and then they say, "Well, when I return to my normal eating." Now, bear in mind, before they even started this, they might have been overweight or morbidly obese, diabetes, all kinds of health problems, and then they felt phenomenal while they were on the juice. And some of them,
But you got to take that back. You don't feel phenomenal on the juice. You're fine. You get through it.
well, that's the first 3 days.
You could offer me a KFC now and I'd go, hold your finger-licking chicken. I've got myself a mixed vegetable smoothie here.
Listen, the first 3 days during the withdrawal period can be hard, but a lot of people come out the other side, they get a juice high. It
I've
didn't happen
told
to
you. But listen, I know it's not very sexy to sell it this way, but if you're listening about doing a juice, it's fine.
Yeah.
That's it. And afterwards you'll go, it was all right, actually. That's all you need.
Here's the point. They go back to their normal eating, Chris,
Yeah.
right? So they go, I went back to normal eating.
Right.
And I gained weight again. And you go, well, what was your normal eating? And they go, well, the same normal eating that made me fat in the first place. And you go, well, okay, well, can you see it might not have been the juicing in between? See, the whole idea is to try and reset the brain, which is what we try and do, but clearly that might not work with you if you went to the burger competition. By the way, when you phoned up that day, when I was on the phone to them on day 2 or day 3 of
It was
their-
day one.
Oh, day one. And I thought they were calling because of Chris. I said, Chris, you're struggling. I assumed it was Chris. And he was fine. He was like, it's all right. But Tiff was the one that was going crazy.
I missed my ginger shot on the last juice I did.
It depends on the plan. So the
Okay.
3 day plan, not the 5 day plan you had. We had a ginger shot every day. And that's just like half an apple, chunk of ginger with the rind
Again,
on.
you're very good at selling this, but let me sell it better. If you go on this juice thing, if you think about, oh, do you know what? I'm going to do it. Go the 5 day. Get the ginger shot in the morning. Woo-hoo! They videoed me taking it on the first day. I was like a cartoon. You know, in the cartoons where their eyes pop out of the skull. Good God, that's a shot of ginger.
Did you get a lot of stick on the radio? Did you get a lot of hassle?
I've got the full spectrum of reactions, yeah. Good
did
for
get some
you,
good
I've
ones.
done it, yeah. I like to do it every time I've done it. It's great. All the way through to, you're going to die. Everything. Why, let me ask you this.
Yeah, go on.
Why can't, again, I don't want to sound like an ad, but this is your podcast. Why can't you buy your juices in the shops?
Because because they're frozen. Obviously, we only deliver them is what we do.
Next
Chris.
question.
Oh,
I've got your Juiced magazine here.
I've got a load of questions for Chris.
Don't worry about that.
He's
I've got the spring 2019 edition of Juiced magazine,
Yes.
which I still love, by the way. You can buy for £2.50, but every time I see Jason, he's literally giving it away. He's thrusting it in everyone's hands. I see you have the Speakmans on the cover of this.
I do have the Speakmans. Yeah, do you know them?
The Speakmans, I have met them before. I'm fascinated by these. I am fascinated by the Speakmans.
Okay, well, listen to this podcast. We've done a podcast with the Speakmans.
They fascinate me.
Well,
I've met them. I think they're lovely, but I think they're the same person.
and we interrupt this for
I think they're the same person.
You think those two are the same? That's
Yeah.
the first time I've ever heard
I
that.
do. Look at the picture. It's like in the Facebook movie where the twins were played by the same actor. It's the same with the Speakmans.
Do you think so?
One of them.
Well, I actually like Speakman. I think they're very good at what they do. But anyway, and,
They are. I think they're brilliant at what
yeah,
they do.
they're fantastic. They're like,
But I think,
geniuses.
could you imagine you go to Juicy Oasis for a week, you pluck up the courage, or you talk yourself into it, or you get a mate or your other half to go with you, and you go into a juice bar for a week, you nutters, like me and Tiff did. You go and imagine you're leaving all of this in, by the way. Edit any of this out. When I went to Juicy Oasis, I'm there with everyone else. So people who have saved up for all year or whatever, or people who've done it on a whim, and there was people of all ages, and we all just hang out, and we're all buddies by the end of it. It was all really, really, really lovely. Imagine turning up and the Speakmans are there. You'd be like, oh, I'm doing this juice. This is great. I'm just going to go for a cigarette. Oh, smoke, do you? Well, yeah, occasionally. Oh, you smoke. You'd be like, okay. They'd hypnotise out of you. Then the next day you'd be like, do you know, I can't wait to get home. I know it's bad, but I'm going to have a pizza. Oh, you like pizzas, do you? We'll put an end to that. Next thing is you just sat at home going, juice. Has your podcast with them been already?
Yes.
All right, so people have probably heard it already. If not, they can go
People,
back.
yeah, people would have heard. And do you know what? They couldn't stop talking about you. No, they really.
I really like them.
We had to. In
I
fact,
do like them. They're very nice
edited
people.
out the bit what they said about Chris. And a load of stuff we can't get to. I think we've covered the health and fitness stuff. I mean, it's amazing having you on here. Thank you very much. It's Chris. By the way, it's Chris Moyles, everybody. It's Chris Moyles. It's been
I
on
think
our
you should
podcast.
stop the clapping.
Really? Do you think
Yeah.
so? Should we not do that anymore?
I
on
think
any
you
more
should
podcast?
stop the clapping.
I like the clap.
Do you just
thing.
want
I like-
to
I
fill
like
in
the
for
energy.
Steve Wright one day?
That's all I do. I just want to fill in for Steve Wright.
I can call him and ask him.
Listen, really appreciate. All joking aside, if we possibly can for a minute, I really appreciate you coming on.
You're welcome. It's been fun.
It's a very
chatting with
busy
you.
schedule that you have. Genuinely.
When
listen to
is
you.
your new Juicy Oasis Empire opening?
No, it's called
What-
Juicy Escape.
Yeah.
Hopefully, you'll be at the launch of it. I'm hoping. Obviously, you'll get an invite. And it'll have food there. Actual
What?
food. Actual food.
Like chips.
No, when I say actual food, I've just realised what I've said. I'm talking about a
Oh,
salad.
you mean your kind of food?
I-
Rabbit food.
Yeah, your people's food.
Actually,
It's
final
your
question. Let me ask you. No, I've got two more questions. Number one, you know about these things. Why, when we were kids, beetroot was disgusting, but now beetroot is really nice? Why? What's that about?
So 48 years of my life, I didn't like mustard, and now I do. But things do change, right? Like Marmite. I've started to like Marmite, but I hated it.
Wow, you're going for the yummiest things in life. Mustard and Marmite. Oh my God. What are you washing that down like with
God, what was
dandelion
that?
and burdock?
Right, so that's the beetroot question. You said you.
And the second question was,
Yeah.
you were going to buy a pink house near Juicy Oasis.
Oh yes, yeah. No, we can't. The owner wasn't selling the pink hotel
Yeah.
that it's known as. No, so Juicy Escape is down in the Algarve. So that's 40 acres, 2 lakes. That's going to be almost like the
Wow, that.
the Soho.
So you never
farmhouse
bought the pink hotel?
Never got it. No,
I
really.
did.
Oh, I see.
I bought it.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So,
And guess what? And it's really near your Juicy place. I'm turning it into a barbecue beer shack.
honestly, you joke.
Yeah, barbecue beer shack. And what we're going to have is an underground tunnel from ours to yours. And you'll never know anything about it.
All I would say-
People on day 4 of the juice, they're going out of their mind. They just go down the tunnel, come along, burger and chips, a couple of shandies, and off they pop.
I think it's fair to say it's been different. Is the word I would use.
I thoroughly enjoyed myself today. Thank you very
No,
much.
listen, really appreciate you taking the time out, and hopefully, obviously, I hope you stop smoking. Obviously, just because
I will.
I think
will.
you
It
feel
will
much better
happen.
for it. But you've done phenomenal. I mean, say you've done phenomenal. I mean, 20 years on the radio, you're still, rocking and rolling, as they say. And I'd like to.
Who says rocking and rolling?
No one. We're going to finish.
My mother says that. She's 77. Rocking and rolling. Woo, Ibiza, rock and roll. Let's go for it.
Do you know what? I'm going to say something in there. Of all the podcasts we've done, right, so far, we've finished off easy. It's like, and thank you for having us on. Round of applause, which you can't do now because, of course, Chris has banned me from actually doing the round of applause stuff. We might do it for one final time. But with Chris, because he's a radio god, that it seems to be difficult finishing it. So all I'm going to say is thank you very much, Chris Moyles, for being part of the Jason Val podcast and for sharing everything about diet and nutrition. Ladies and gentlemen, it's Chris Moyles. We've got a big round of applause.
We ruined it. We ruined the ending.